And Pilate said to him, "What is truth?"
The truth? What in heaven and earth do you mean by truth? What do I need your truth for? Can your truth raise to life the 1,000 victims of an earthquake? Can it find me a job? Well, let it do this, and I will worship it. It shall be my God. But I like to see and touch and feel and measure what is promised to me. I'm too old for idle chatter.
Tranquility and peace can only be achieved by those who are certain about some important things. No one can be certain of anything if he is not convinced that it is actually true. We need to hold some things as true if we want to live. Could you live without the certainty that the sun will rise tomorrow?
No, I couldn't. However, I believe only what I see and touch, what is real. I am certain that the sun exists because I can see it. You cannot be certain of what you do not see.
That is not true. There are many things, concrete, real things, which we are certain about, although we have not seen them. For example, I have always believed that Britain is an island, upon trustworthy testimony, and on the basis of this testimony, I continue to believe this. Our certainty is always the result of a judgment.
A judgment?
Yes, a judgment. You have never sailed all the way around Britain, but you are certain it is an island, because you have enough proof. Such a judgment is something that happens in your mind without you even noticing it. You consider all the different probabilities. How likely is it that all the evidence about Britain being an island is false?
So certainty is very subjective. You make yourself certain of the things you want.
I am not saying this. You cannot create your certainty. Certainty is always the result of facts and events, and you cannot create these. You are certain that Britain is an island because you have seen maps, listened to accounts, received trustworthy testimonies. You cannot create these testimonies. And yet, these individual proofs are not enough. It is the ultimate judgment of your mind that weighs them and allows you to be certain.
All good and true. The fact that Britain is an island, however, is still something that I could see. People have circumnavigated it, therefore we are certain. But with God? No one has ever seen him. Wouldn't it be easier if I could just see him? If he could appear to me in person, or if he could perform a miracle? I think, confronted with a miracle, I'd have no excuse not to believe.
Miracles alone cannot convince anyone. If you start from a prejudice, nothing of what happens is able to convince you, not even a miracle. You can always find an alternative explanation. Think of the thousands of people who saw the miracles of Jesus. How many actually followed him? On the contrary, if you start from correct assumptions, even small signs are enough to be certain. Thus, it sometimes happens that very simple, humble people can achieve greater certainties and a clearer view of things.
Prejudices, you say? Well, honestly, I do not think I have prejudices. I look at things as they are. If an apple is red, I say it is red.
The problem with prejudices is that we do not realize that we have them. In some sense, it is natural to have them. We approach reality with an assumption. It is like someone who looks at the world through glasses with red lenses. The entire world will look red to him. We all have these glasses, even if we do not realize it. They have been put on us by our educators and parents. They depend on our desires and tastes, on the people we aspire to be like.
Well, if everyone is prejudiced, then no one can ever gain the truth. I have my prejudices, you have yours. How can you be certain that your way of looking at things is right and mine wrong?
Of course, there are many different beliefs, but not all of them are true. People were certain the earth was flat centuries ago, and they were wrong. This does not mean, however, that the earth has no shape, or that its shape cannot be ascertained. Truth has in fact a great advantage over falsehood. Truth is real. False convictions do not stand the test of reality. Reality will prove them false.
If things were as you said, there would be no disagreement among men. Experience would correct wrong beliefs, and everyone would find the truth. But the world is populated by people who believe millions of different things. Take the different religions. Every position has had its defenders, all as ardent as those in other traditions. And I think that if people stick to their beliefs, it is because they find their happiness in them.
Yes, but there are different kinds of happiness. A person who believes what is not true is, in a sense, like someone watching a play at the theatre. He understands what happens in the scene and finds pleasure in it. However, the story represented by the play might be completely false. The pleasure of this person is not real happiness, real satisfaction, which is the distinctive feature which only and always accompanies the perception of truth.
I understand this. But how can this intellectual security be achieved? How can I find something that really satisfies my thirst for knowledge? How can I be directed towards the truth if I happen to be convinced of what is false?
Man is a seeing, touching animal. His heart is commonly reached, not through reasoning, but through living images, by means of direct impressions, by the testimony of facts and events, by history, by description. Persons influence us, voices melt us, looks subdue us, deeds inflame us. No one, I say, will die for his own calculations. He dies for realities.
Yes, but what about your truth? How can God be a reality?
God manifests himself in many ways, and we are capable of acknowledging his presence because we have been endowed with an instrument, a personal guide, which is nearer to us than any other means of knowledge. That is our conscience. Conscience is what forces us to change. I myself arrived at a point where I accepted a change of my convictions brought on by facts that were happening in my life. To live is to change, and to be perfect is to have changed often. I cannot make this change for you, but what I can do is tell you my story.